Call and response to open the Dharma talk. The Dharma is vast and subtle.
The Dharma is vast and subtle.
We now have a chance to see this.
We now have a chance to see this.
Study this and practice this.
Study this and practice this.
Realize this true meaning.
May we realize this true meaning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is it okay to take this off when I speak? Okay, because it fogs my glasses on me. Well, good morning. Hello, everybody out there. Larry Pelter's there. Okay.
Hey, Doug.
Hi, Doug. Hi. All right. George, it's first of all, it's great to be here. It's great to sit with everybody again, and I'm just so grateful. And, I always all these retreats we set, and I always wanted to. I probably should say this, but I always wanted to get you a chin stick, so when you fall asleep.
I don't think so.
Okay. You remember they used to allow chin sticks, a little wooden ball here and a stick, and you put it on your chin and you could sleep.
So it was always a good nap spoiled for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you one someday.
I'll take it.
Well, thanks again for having me, and Gary's birthday. And I always remember doing this with Nonin and Gary as the founder of the temple. And I think how grateful I am, I think all of us are, because of that line. In our era, it was always Nonin and Dosho, and then Dokai over at Hokyoji. We used to go over there every once in a while. You used to go. Anybody else ever been to Hokyoji? If you ever get a chance, it's so those three were Dharma brothers. They were all ordained at the same time. So that was kind of the group that I connected to. And Dokai runs Hokyoji, which was the monastery that Katagiri founded. What's the town? It's Eitzen is the mailing address, but it's a little town northeast Iowa. But Larry Pelter, you ever been there? Oh, there's Carla too. Okay.
No, I never have.
Okay, yeah. But up in northeast Iowa, and it's the driftless region. Isn't that right, Carla? And remember
That's right, Doug.
yeah, beautiful region up there. For some reason, the glaciers didn't go through there. And so it's mountainous, and it's really cool in the wintertime with all the trees, shadows on them. Well, I mean, to me, they're mountains. A beautiful country up through there. So if you ever get a chance, it's still being run, Katagiri's old monastery. But Hokyoji means something mirror, means something mirror mind or something along those lines.
I always thought it meant long drive in the afternoon.
Yeah, it is a long drive, but worth it. And if nothing, it's beautiful landscape and the food's good. So I just remember I never got to meet Katagiri. If anybody here meet Katagiri?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I think he died somewhere around 1890.
I think so.
Yeah. But one thing that the story no one always brought up was he would ask Katagiri what's the most important thing. Katagiri would say continuing. And so I want to thank you guys for continuing. And I also want to thank you for inviting me up, because you helped me to continue. By the way, Larry, here's a confession. You're heading up Lincoln Zen Group this week, right? Online. Your voice isn't on.
I think Norm is going to do it.
Oh.
Chris is going in for some surgery.
Yeah, so I know somebody.
And I
Anyway,
think,
I just wanted to say to the group, for the whole group, that I will be at Lincoln Zen Group on Zoom this week, so.
oh, wonderful. I will too. I'll try to make it.
Yeah. So we kind of have to have this obligation to each other. I think, boy, you know, you guys are very fortunate because there's just nothing like this in the whole state. You know, it's rare, and I admire your commitment to keeping things going. The rest of us are kind of far flung and on our own. But now with Zoom, you know, we can do all these things. So it's a good way of doing it. By the way, I'm a real believer in kind of short and sweet talks. And I also like opening up a lot of discussion, and I like that people can ask each other's questions too, you know. So you wanted to ask George something.
I'll just defer to them.
So because a lot of that is, you know, I'm in the lay tradition, and I have no idea why Nonin gave me permission to teach on my own, and yet he did. And of course, I spent my career as a dairy farmer and have a little restaurant there in Lincoln now. And so my practice is very much tied to just ordinary life, ordinary people. And for me, ordinary life is a way interacting, friendships, neighborliness, all those things. So the thing you have here is following on the theme of continuing is group practice and interactions. When somebody gets off base, somebody tells them, you know, you're getting off base here. So it's a wonderful way. And when there's kind of a level playing field, anybody can tell the other if there's something going on, something's out of whack. And of course, the primary piece is self-examination. This person right here, the person that's going to get out of whack is this guy, you know, and I often am out of whack, as folks here know, and many of you know. But that's constantly the process, is going out of whack, coming back in, going out of whack, coming back in. You know, Nonin used to say you should be in the zone about 75% of the time. That's pretty good. No, I'm sure I'm nowhere near that. And if you can do that, I'm all for it. So going back to this self-examination, continuing here, this practice, this person, you know, the old Zen line, if you see the Buddha walking down the road, kill him, which seems a little extreme, especially when you come from a Christian tradition. So that wouldn't get you very far in the Methodist Church. Right. But of course, it's all right here. It's not outside of ourselves. This is the practice. And then, of course, the way we hone that practice is in our relationships. You know, people in our lives, they're the ones who are going to tell you when something's off. It reminds me of this Dogan's turn the light and shine it inwards here. But I remember one time, Nonin, he was great about it. He'd say, go visit this person, that person, and I would do it. And a lot of times I kind of wondered why, because they were giving me very different advice. And I would get here, but that says a lot about Nonin, that, you know, he was open to that you could see something different. But I went to visit a Zen teacher in Vermont. I was out there one time looking at a dairy and a creamery, and she had practiced through Japan, and it had a very hard time in Japan, and this very kind of young male culture in the monasteries, and she'd gone through there as an older woman, and she was talking about Zen. I remember Katagiri would sometimes refer to the Iron Man as Zen. You know, the Iron Man, there's something very appealing about the Iron Man. But she would say relationships, your partner is your teacher. Holding her hand is your mudra. So relationships is key. And that's a whole different way of looking at it. I was reading, I always bring a poem, you know, and of course I always.
What does that mean to you? Good partner is your.
Yeah,
What the partner is your teacher?
yeah, what does that mean to you?
Well, you got to admit, that's pretty tough practice,
Mhm.
you know. And again, I think it doesn't have to be a spouse, you know, but I think it really is about whatever. It could be a spouse, could be children, could be the neighbor, could be whoever. And
Dharma friend.
Dharma friends. I don't know. I picked up Cold Mountain on coming here for a poem. And he was like, you know, to use a stone, using a stone for your pillow, using the moon for a lamp. But I'm probably going to stick with a fabric pillow and an incandescent lamp. You know, I think this practice it's got to be intimately connected to the people around us and to these relationships. And there's a bit of a what's the term? What do you call kids that can't interact with anybody else?
Autistic?
There's a bit of an autistic element wherein when you read Cold Mountain and pick up a big stick and these guys and you're just out on your own, you know. But it's got to be something warm and something probably more from the heart, I would say, connected. So that's what it means to me. I don't know, does that answer?
Yeah.
Okay. What's it mean to you?
To me, what I heard is like especially your intimate relationship, whether they be romantic or like you said, or child, that person is a mirror to you.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say, oh, you see your faults, you see a lot of things reflected in them and your reactions to them, which you think are about them, but they're actually about you.
Mm-hmm.
And to try to use that as your teacher.
Yeah.
To yourself.
Yeah, it's a tough teacher.
Yeah, it is.
It is. But I think it is the way, especially in 2022, Nebraska, you know. So, yeah, I think one thing I've been thinking about this week is also continuing. I think everybody comes to Zen practice out of some need or some pain or some issue, and every once in a while somebody that just feels returning to some connection that they remember, and but most aren't. And so I mean, you know, one thing I got to say about myself is I've had one thing that really brought me to it is anxiety, some depression, this kind of stuff, a little panic sometimes, and in the past week or two I had some issues with that again. And but I want to, you know, one thing about these issues that bring us this practice in a way are a gift, because they bring you to it. And then those are some things that are always on kind of the periphery, on the edge of my life, and they always have been. I don't know, people are just wired differently. And anytime those things appear, that means return to practice. You know, because I mean, the beautiful thing about this practice is if you can just let go of me and my problems for just a little bit. You know, and I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's hard sometimes, even sitting like right here, you know, it's just some stories going on, especially when you got to get up here and give a talk. I'm like, yeah, I got to say something that people are going to buy into. But anyway, whatever brings you to the practice is something that it's a kind of a touchstone, and whether if it's a whatever, physical, mental, emotional, whatever it is, and the thing that keeps pushing you, you know, to return and to connect again, you know, to this deeper place. You know, at its heart, this is a visceral practice where you viscerally, there are two minds. You know, last time we showed the little face thing, you know, and there's the mind where it's your individual, your issues, your mother, your father, your life, your children, you're putting money in the bank, you know, or not putting money in the bank, you know. What's Omicron going to do now? Anyway, that life. And then the mind has this toggle, and it is a toggle. When you turn to one life, you know, connected. And we, know it or not, we all toggle between those two minds all day long, you know, every day. And this is simply a way of honing that toggle to connect, you know, in some open and immediate way, you know, open-handed. I even experience it as my hands begin to close when I'm fighting something or whatever. And then this is the mind opens, you know, it's receptive, it's warm. And that's actually, it turns out, a pretty darn good way to live, you know. So anyway, even anxiety and depression can be a positive thing. It can be something that reawakens your practice. It's a touchstone, you return to it, and you connect. So these are gifts. We have all these gifts. We often don't look at them as gifts. Anything that happens in our lives, maybe we feel sad one day. You wake up, you feel sad. Why? I don't know. But is that a bad thing? So you just say, boy, I feel sad today. You know, there's something messed up about January, maybe. I don't know what it is, but I feel sad. And then you just say it. And then you go and you deliver the next plate of food to the people, or you, whatever your job is. If you're running a garbage route, you go and pick up the garbage, or whatever you do. Help somebody out if you can. Sometimes you just lay in bed for a while. All right, so what? Eventually you get up. Okay. All these relationships, spouse, parent, child, neighbor, friend. My mother's 91 and she's suffering from dementia. She's slipping away, kind of in her own realm. Carl and I are going to go see her today and have a glass of wine. You know, there's also an opening there as she becomes that person. I noticed that her relationship deepens and there's like more of an opening to actually say, I love you, Mom, and connect, because a lot of the hard, you know, all the familial hard edges drop away. So anyway, continuing, everything continues. When you continue, you're in accord with the whole works. You know, it's winter, it's snow. I park on the curb over here, and you know, the snow's pretty deep. I think I'll get back out. Saw you plow Fergus into the snow. Good for you. If we get stuck, we'll get a strap out. We'll just pull each other out. So nature continues. You know, this stuff. Most Zen literature is tied to nature because it's this vast mind. You know, clouds, water, the whole thing, and the whole thing's on the move. We get stuck. We want things to be the same. You know, gosh, it was nice when I was 9. You know, man, Mom and Dad paid bills, and there was a bowl of Wheaties. I had that little dog. There's a neighbor cat I played with, but things move on, and you become, you know, on your own and family, the whole thing. Time continues. Time rolls on. Everything's continuing. I think it continues good because our skills grow, we change, you know, I picked up the hobby of woodworking lately. I liked it. And I've sold my cows. And so I turned the barn into a place for woodworking. So it's fun to see your skills grow and change, you know, all of our skills growing, and our skills grow in Zen. You know, the idea is don't have any gaining idea of your skills, but it's also okay to have. I'm a believer in cultivating a little bit of a story. Stories keep things interesting, you know. I mean, it's your life and that's your story, and you don't want to get too caught in that story. You know, you can also let go of it. So watching how we change. I remember another thing from Nonin was always about adapting to conditions. And if we can adapt to conditions in each stage of our life, you know, we're not as vigorous as we once were, George.
Yeah, bloom where you're planted is what Nonin said all the time.
Bloom where you're planted. Yeah. That's a good way. I'm just gonna read a little David Budville poem. And then I just want to open it up to discussion, whatever one, or we can just go drink coffee. Nonin, you know, one of the great, wonderful things about Nonin was his, he was a taught literature, I guess, somewhere on the East Coast. And had a great collection of poetry. I often find myself dragging them out, looking at them. And this was a fellow, David Budville, while we've still got feet. And just a lot of nice one. He actually lived on a mountain, and he called himself Jude Vine Mountain. You know, it's the old Zen tradition that you took the name of the landscape that you lived in, you know, cold mountain, stone house, whatever. And he did this. So when he's referring to the mountain, it could be the mountain he lives on, or it could be something else. But I saw it as also connecting to continuing. A cave on Jude Vine Mountain. There is a cave on Jude Vine Mountain, a secret place, way back in the woods, high up on a hidden slope, in a place that no one ever goes. Only I know where it is. No one else has ever been there. I go up there a lot and sit around, make a little fire, boil some tea. Sometimes cook a little meal. But mostly what I do is sit and wait, poke at the fire, add a twig or two, and wait, and stare until suddenly I don't know what to do. Kind of ends with a plot there, but I think it's just things don't have to come in big, you know, avalanches. We just continue and we peck away at things, we work things, and then a little clarity comes, and then you move in the direction of that clarity. So thank you for continuing. It's an incredible place. Very grateful to this group. And thank you for helping me continue. And Larry, I'll be on Zen call this week on Thursday for our little Lincoln Zen Group. Anything you want to say to questions or each other or anything? You guys too.
I have a question. So you talked about meditating with anxiety. I also can suffer from anxiety.
Yeah.
And I find that sometimes for me, sitting is almost worse because it gives me more opportunity to sit and spin stuff. How did that work for you in your practice?
Yeah, well, a lot of times it's better to walk.
Okay.
You know, I'm a big walker.
Yeah,
I
I
like
remember
walking.
that when you got
Yeah.
mad. So you get mad, yeah.
I also love riding my bike.
Yeah.
I ride my bike a lot. And like with the cafe in town, it's it's just nice to try to ride all over town. I'll try to ride my bike to do my errands. And I find biking is a meditation. You know, you're just trying not to get hit, you know, you're paying attention. People don't run you over, won't they? I mean, man, I'll tell you. So ride your bike, you know, or walk. And when you walk, both hemispheres they're going tick-tock like this, tick-tock, and it's the most primitive thing you can do. It goes all the way back. So pretty soon, I think if you find if you walk, you know, getting started is the hard part, especially when it's snowy. But walk and make that a meditation. Driving a car is a great meditation because, you know, you're moving the wheels and the stick and then you're watching. And so your mind's engaged enough that you can just driving up here today. You know, the old line of continuous practice, everything you do, you know, and I know it's hard with your executive work, but just find things in the day. And then I remember another thing in the category was Natalie Goldberg. And she said something, asked him about sitting, and he said, just sit 5 minutes. You know, if you can just sit 5 minutes, sit and look out the window at the bird feeder. Sit 5 minutes. And it's just making you, like when you're spinning, to just sit down, even when you don't want to, even 5 minutes.
Thank you.
What do you guys do with the anxious mind?
Actually, lately I've been struggling a lot with that because when I sit down, it's just like it's, you know, wheels are turning, lists, I'm adding to lists,
Yeah.
those sorts of things. And so, yeah, a lot of times if I'm just around the house, sometimes I'll step outside my back door and just take it in, listen, watch, and just enter into nature, such it is as it is, and suburban backyard for a little bit. And I think it's like Pema Chodron, says all the time now. It's about making a gap, just making an opening that you can slip through.
Yeah, I know you've taken on, the whole group has taken on a lot of responsibilities with this place. I know that you've taken on a lot. So you gotta be careful. Because it can just become like, oh my God, it'll ruin your health. It'll wreck your mind. So there's a way of balancing that out. Maybe someone else can do something,
Well, yeah, and that's helpful too, is to, like you say, open up and think about all the people who are helping to hold this place up and hold us together. It's really nice.
Anybody else?
I will say on the topic of continuing also, that the pandemic was very instructive to me because before the pandemic, I found it impossible to sit at home. I just couldn't make myself do it. And then there was a situation where it's the only place that I can sit. And, just by setting my alarm and getting up and sitting there every morning, then I really felt like I developed a deeper practice through that. And it's like you say, everything's a teacher. And I said that to the group down at the prison one time, said, everything teaches us, regardless of whether it's bad or good. And one of the guys said, even if it's bad, it's a teacher. And I said, especially if it's bad. Actually.
When we, of course, Vicki, you were very involved in that. I was for a while. I'd say something like that once in a while. The guys in the Huskow, they get mad at me, like, you don't know what it's like to be in here. And that's true. I don't know. But anyway, we can all create our own prisons for sure.
I have a funny story, just real quick, if people indulge me. When I would say that when they would say that to me, I would say, it's not my place to tell you how to live in prison.
Right.
I don't live here. That's your role. My place is to figure out how to live this practice in corporate America. And every inmate went, oh, and thought I had it worse.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will we'll close the Dharma talk, call and response. The many beings are numberless, vowing to carry them across.
The
beings are numberless, vowing to carry them across.
Greed, anger, and ignorance rise endlessly, vowing to cut off the mind road.
Greed, anger, and ignorance rise endlessly, vowing to cut off the mind road.
Gates are countless, vowing to wake to them all.
Dharma gates are countless, vowing to wake to them all.
Buddha's way is all embracing, vowing to follow through.
Buddha's way is all embracing, vowing to
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We have tea and coffee afterwards, and then we have a full day. Hi, Matt. Bye, everyone.